my name is Morgan Henley, and I am interviewing a tech-savvy teacher at my school, Petal Upper Elementary, 6th grade teacher, math teacher, Abby Good. So, Abby, let's start with a couple questions. What types of technology do you have available to you in your classroom?
I often use the Interwrite board with a keypad and Interwrite pad, and I also use Chromebooks. We have 10 Chromebook carts that we share among the teachers in our school, so I use those almost every day, and this definitely every day.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. What about whole group instruction? How do you use technology during your lessons each day or every other day whenever you choose?
Well, I use this and I walk around the room every day, starting out with on my board I would usually write as I'm walking around the room, just kind of demonstrate as I would walk. I walk around the room, which allows me to really have a lot of communication and seeing what my students are doing, but also they're actively engaged in watching what I'm doing on the board. I'm able to work each problem from the pad that I'm able to see on the board, and it projects exactly what I write. Sometimes it can be a little difficult, but it allows them to keep engaged with the task that we are working on immediately. Also, I use Chromebooks, Kahoot. I do use as a whole group. It is what we use on Chromebook carts. We take out, each individual student gets a Chromebook, and they go to a certain website, Kahoot, and I pull up the website with the pin that they should type in to what they are onto the game that I have created for them.
So I'm going to enter my pin. We already have Kahoot pulled up here. Hit OK, go.
Yeah. Then their name pops up, and a lot of times they want to type in some fun nicknames, and you can pull them out or you can leave them in. But when you start the game, it comes up with the questions, gives them time for how long they want to use those questions, and it times them, and it gives me feedback immediately to what their answers were. I'm able to see, after we have completed the problem, how many students got each answer correct or answered each question, and we can see the placing. So it becomes a game to the students that while they're working, each individual with a Chromebook, they can see what they're doing and how they're doing so far. So that's kind of how I use those in a whole group setting.
Okay, and you can also use those in small group?
Yes.
Students work on these independently during small group?
Independently in small group, I have probably 2 stations in my room that I use, a couple websites that they work individually on their own. They have a certain amount of tasks they need to complete based upon what they are currently mastering in their levels.
Awesome. Okay, now what about as far as technology with projects? Are they on Chromebooks for project-based learning, or?
Yes, actually we just finished a project where our students worked on Chromebooks. They shared Google Docs that had all of the items that they were working on, and they shared their data with me so that I was able to see it and make comments on it and look at what they were doing, and being able to then assess how they're doing, and they tweak based on my comments. And then also I'm able to grade it from that. It's easily shared with me.
Okay, and what about time management? Is that an issue? Do you put a deadline on the work, or how long do they have?
I give my students an end projected date where I want them to be finished. But then each day I also give them a certain amount of tasks where I want them to complete maybe a title page and a few other problems that they need to work out, and give them a timeline so that they know about where they are, so that they should be finished on time.
Okay, awesome. How has your teaching changed through the use of technology from just last year to this year, how much you're using each day and so forth?
I am using technology a lot more this year than I did last year. I didn't start using the Interwrite board until probably midway through the year last year, and this year I've started from the beginning. And it's really allowed me to assess the students' skills and how they're mastering those throughout the entire class period when I'm in lecture time, but also whenever I'm in small group. I also am seeing a lot of my kids engaged more. They love to use the Chromebooks, and they love to use the different math games like the Kahoot or my small group activities that they work on, but they love it when they get to use the Chromebooks. And so I see a lot more that they're engaged with what I'm doing and they're paying attention and fully involved. Whereas last year they probably were a little bit more reserved and not as engaged and full into what they're doing. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time. Next year I plan to use the inner right board with the pen. I know it's going to take some practice, but it's something that I need to do for student engagement. I also plan to try to incorporate some Kahoots as whole group versus just using Chromebooks in small group setting. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.